Hi, welcome to today's CAD lesson. In this exercise, we would be modeling a spur gear using the Spur Gear Generator in Autodesk Inventor. We would also animate just like you saw in the beginning of this video. Do well to stick around till the end. Please consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't yet done that. Also do well to like this video if you get some value out of this tutorial. If you would have any comments, questions, or concerns at the end, leave them down in the comment section below. I will address them as soon as I can. Let's jump into today's exercise. As mentioned, we would be exploring the gear generator in Autodesk Inventor, and that is seen in an assembly template. And so let's open an assembly template straight away. You click on New App here. And for today, we want to work with an English template, and we would be working in inches. And so under Assembly, Assemble 2D and 3D components, let's select the inches assembly template and create. Now, let's come up here and choose the Design tab. Under the Power Transmission group, we have the Spur Gear. Let's drop that down and select the Spur Gear. It says we should save this work before we can continue. So we would press OK and do that. I would save this in a folder I created already called the Spur Gear. The Spur is spelled wrongly. Forgive me for that. But I'll change the name here to Gear Assembly 1 and save. That opens up our Spur Gear Component Generator. There are a number of details we can specify here depending on the type of gears we are working with. And so you can specify the design guide, the desired gear ratio, the diametral pitch, the center distance, a lot of details here for the gear 1 too. You can specify its components, the ratio between the gear 1 and the gear 2. You can specify that as well. But for today and for this particular tutorial, we are going to leave everything as default and we would OK. That is asking us to create a number of files. So the first one is going to be the subassembly file, and then the second one is going to be the Spur Gear 1 part file, and then also the Spur Gear 2 part file. We want that, and so we would OK. So yes, it has been generated for us. You can click to place and then you can inspect what you have. This looks good, and so we would continue. Let me get the isometric view and save this one more time. Yes to all and OK. What I do from here is to create my own assembly by building on this part file of the subassembly that has been created by default. And so I would open a new assembly template. I would create, and let me save this as the gear assembly 2 and save. Now this is my own assembly. I would bring in the part files of the assembly 1 that has been created by default. So we would click on place, and here just open up the folder you are working in. You can open up the gear assembly 1 and also open the design accelerator folder. Here we see the gears, which is the gear 1 and the gear 2 that has been created by default. We would select the two of them and open. Now here we are in our own assembly. Let's place them here. You can press escape since we need just one pair. Okay. I'd like to also change the view and the visual style to shaded with edges. And let's see, we have our gear 1 and this is the gear 2. Excellent. So these are parts on their own. Now let's see, we can click, right click, and then open up the file. If you want to edit it, you can do so from here. Let's go back to our assembly. Let's click, right click, and then we would open. We also have that part file here. So we have the part 1, the part 2, and then our assembly. Now let's work on constraining these two so we can animate it. So we would open up the planes of the main assembly. Let's bring in the YZ plane and the XY plane. We will turn on the visibility of these two. Let me even straight away constrain this face to this plane. Now let me get the right view so we see what we've done. It is sitting right on top of that plane. Let me go back and get the isometric view. Okay, we would apply and do same for this. So we would constrain this face to this plane and apply that. Let me close this for now and let's see what we have with the right view. Excellent. Next, I would want to apply some more constraints to reduce the degree of freedom I have with this bigger gear. We'll do same for the smaller one. So we want to constrain concentrically this bigger gear with the Z-axis of the main assembly. So let me just turn that on for now. There it is right here. But for the gear, the bigger gear, let's open that up. It is the Spur Gear 2. I would come here under the model browser. Let me open it up and open up the surface bodies. For this pitch diameter, I will turn on the visibility. So there we have it right here. Now I'll go back to my assembly and now I can constrain. So I want to constrain concentrically like I mentioned this Z-axis with the pitch diameter of the bigger gear. Okay, so there we have it. We can apply. Let me close this and let me drag the smaller one away. Now let's see. We are able to rotate the bigger gear, which is exactly what we want. So now let's turn our attention to the smaller gear. We would want to constrain it as well. But let's open that up and also turn on the visibility of the pitch diameter. We can go back to our assembly and we would constrain. So we would constrain, let's open that up, the Spur Gear 1, the planes, its Z-axis with this particular plane here and apply that. Let's close this. Now let's see. Okay, it only has this degree of freedom. We need another constraint also. We don't want this to move anyhow. So let's see. I would constrain, but it's going to be a tangential constraint between the pitch diameter of the bigger gear and the pitch diameter of the smaller gear so that those two are tangent to each other. Let me apply that and close this for now. I'll get the front view and let's see. Okay, so let's try as much as we can to place this teeth in between this groove. So you can align this rightly. You can even temporarily ground this part so it doesn't move. And then we can place this teeth right here. Don't let perfection get in the way of good enough, as best as you can. Okay, for me, this is fine. Now, let me turn off the grounded option. Awesome. We are done with the use of these planes, so we can turn off their visibility at this point. Also the visibility of the Z-axis. So we just have gears. Now let's do another constraint, which is going to be a motion. And the motion is going to be between, let's use the pitch diameter of the bigger gear. And the selection 2 is going to be the pitch diameter of the smaller gear. Now that changes the ratio to the 2.478, which is the gear ratio between the two. And we would apply that and close this. With what we've done, spinning the bigger gear will automatically spin the smaller gear. Let's automate that process. And so we need one more constraint to do that. Let's select the constraint option. We want to apply the type angle. and we want the solution to be a directed angle. We want to maintain the angle between that as an offset, so we'll check this option here, and we want to work with the, let's see, the YZ plane of the main assembly. And for the spare gear one, we would work with the YZ plane also. So we get an angle of 117.28. Yours might be a little bit different depending on how you place the teeth. So don't be so alarmed. Let's apply, and you can close this for now. Now let's look for that angle here so we can animate it. There it is right here. So you can right click and choose the option that says drive. For the start, we want to start at that angle, which is okay. And for the end, let me copy what I have here and paste it here and add 360 to that. Let's play this and see what we have. Okay, but both gears are moving clockwise. We would correct that soon. So let me open up these options, and then for the repetition, I want it to start, end, and start, and I want to do that, let's say, twice. And I would leave everything as it is for now. Let me okay. Now let's correct the movement of the gears. So for this rotation you have here, just right click on that and we would edit. For the solution, we want to change that from the forward motion to the reverse. So select this option and okay. Now let's go back and drive. So we click on the angle, right click and drive. Now let's see, we can play that back. That has been neatly done. Let's close this for now. Another thing I want us to do is to edit these gears. So quickly, I found this picture on the internet. I'll place it on the screen. We want to replicate that gear. So we'll start with the bigger spare gear. Let me select this face and I would create a sketch. I don't have the right dimensions, but we would be making estimates. So we pick the circle command. Let's draw a circle from the origin. Okay, this match is fine. So let me do, I think 5.2 is okay. I would enter that and then also draw another circle here from the origin. I'll do 1 inch for that and then another one slightly bigger than that. Let's do 1.7 and enter that. Now I would finish this and we want to extrude. I want to extrude this, that is going to be cut. The depth of that cut, let me do 0.1. Okay, I think that is fine. So I will click on the plus sign so I can also extrude this. It's going to be a cut and we want the cut to go through all, and we would okay. All right, now on this face also, let me create a sketch and then I would pick the circle command. Let's draw a circle here. The diameter of this, let me do 1.5, and I would apply a vertical relationship between the center here and there, and then also I would dimension the distance between this point and the center of that as, let me do one and see how that looks. Let me do 1.7 rather. Okay, I think this is a good guess. And so let's finish this and we want to extrude. It's going to be an extrude cut and we want the cut to go through all. Let's okay. Now I want to pattern this and get 5 more of that. So I'll use the circular pattern command. The feature is going to be this circle, the axis of rotation. I can use this. The preview of that is okay, equally spaced around a 360-degree angle, and so we would okay. Let me edit this extrusion we did Let's look for that here. It is the extrusion tool. So I'll right click and edit the feature. I want to change the depth of that to, let me do 0.2 and OK. All right. Now I want to mirror the extrusion tool, but before that, let me create a plane. And so we would plane. Let's select this face and the opposite face. So it places a plane right in between that. Now I would create a mirror of the extrusion tool, which is right here. The mirror plane is going to be the plane we just introduced. Let me look at the preview of that. It looks good, and so let's OK. All right, now let's turn off the visibility of this plane and let me create the keyway. So on this face, I would create a sketch. Now I would pick the rectangle command, the one that says the 2-point center. Let me bring it here and draw a rectangle. Let me dimension straight away using the dynamic input box. So I'm going to do for the height 0.2. Press the tab key, and for the width, let's also do 0.3. It's fine. Let's enter that. You can right click and then OK. Now let me move this so I can apply the vertical relationship between the center of this rectangle and the origin. Now I would finish that. Let's E to extrude. The profile, I will select this, and that is going to be a cut. Let's make the cut go through all and OK. All right, so this is how easily you can edit your gear once you have it from the gear generator. Let's go back into our assembly and see. There we have it. We'll do same for the smaller one quickly. So I'll go into the Spur Gear one. Let me select this face and create a sketch. I'm going to do something very simple here. So we pick the circle command. Let's draw a circle here, which is going to be a hole. Let me make that 0.5 diameter. And I am going to draw another one much bigger. Let's do 1.8 and enter that. Now I am going to finish this and extrude. Let's extrude. This is going to be a cut. Let's make the cut 0.2 and I would enter that. Now on this face, let me create a sketch and I will pick the circle command. Let me draw a hole in here. Let me do 0.45, enter. Let me finish this and I would extrude, cut the hole through all and OK. All right, let me make this a little bit bigger. So for this extrusion, let me open it up, the first one, and edit the sketch. I am going to change the dimension of 0.5 to, let's do 0.8 and enter. We can finish that. Okay, this is fine. So let me mirror this on the opposite side. Let me place the plane in between this face and then that face. Now I can mirror, and so the mirror command, the feature I want to mirror is going to be the extrusion tool and also the extrusion 3. The mirror plane is going to be this plane I introduced here. Let me look at the preview of that and OK. Now let me turn off the visibility of this plane and draw the keyway. So we would pick the 2-point center rectangle. Let me draw that rectangle here. Okay, so let me do a height of, let me do the width first of 0.2. Press the tab key. Let's do a height of 0.18. Okay, I think this is fine. Now let me apply the vertical relationship between the center of that rectangle and this point right here. Now I can finish this and we want to extrude. Let's extrude this. We'll select that as well, but we want a cut. The cut should go through all and okay. All right, so let me even turn off the visibility of the pitch diameter. Let me go back into the Spur Gear tool and also turn off the visibility of the pitch diameter. Now we'll go back to our main assembly. All right, everything has been neatly done. Let's even apply some appearance and so. For the bigger Spur Gear, I'm going to do the chrome polish black. Then for this smaller one, let me do one of these metal colors. The metal 1600 Fahrenheit hot. You can even add some shadows and then a reflection if you want. And let's play one last time, like I said. So this is the angle right here. We will drive that. Then let's play. Okay, and so that's going to be it for today's tutorial. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it has, please consider subscribing to this channel. Do well to like this video also. It helps the YouTube algorithm get it out to a lot more people. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or contributions, you can leave them down in the comment section below and I would address them as soon as I can. Don't forget to save this work and share this with your CAD friends. I'll see you soon with the next tutorial. Bye!